Because of the color of her skin.
He said that was so painful. And I knew exactly what he meant. He meant that he would not want to have a relationship with a woman of color. And I thought, well, my God, all this time I have been carrying him. His wife and I were good friends. It hurts so badly. In all my travels, everywhere, I had never experienced this type of thing. And so it was painful. So I sat down. One morning, I couldn't sleep. I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning. I went down to the typewriter, and I wrote him typed 4 pages. And I asked him to come to my house. I sat him down, and I said, I've got a copy for you, and I'm going to read my copy to you. And I said, I'm going to give you a glass of water, because what you're going to hear is not going to be very nice. And so I told him that beginning of when God created me, we could not choose our parents. We could not choose what color we were, or and I really just gave it to him. And by the time I was finished, he had tears in his eyes. Whether it was real or not, I don't know. But you know what? I have pulled myself up by my bootstraps, and I carried on, and I said, I'm fine. I said to myself, I'm fine with it. If that's how he is, who wants to be with this person? And even if he was saying he was a nice person, it's still, you can't change the spot on, is it leopard? One of those animals. So I have to say that was the most difficult and painful experience when I was reminded of my color. Because growing up in England, we didn't know what color you were. You were a person. And when he said that, anyway, that's it. I'm fine now.
And you know what? I think you point out that you're kind of summing up whatever else is. Would you get it for me? We can figure out what's going on. Assistant, I love you.
It's good to have it.
That a whole piece of, if we're not really truly seen for who we are, if people don't see us as that whole unique person that we are, and not put expectations on top of us, then that can be a real negative experience, from just slightly negative in certain places to very, very negative, like what you experienced, Verona.
Yeah.
So I want to read, actually I'd love to have somebody else read it for me. Anybody like to read?
Yeah. Oh.
Who wants to read? This piece on companioning. If somebody read that. Has anybody ever heard of Alan Wolfelt before? The person who wrote this? If you Google him, he's got a site on bereavement and that kind of stuff, and he's really great resources and just really neat ideas about caring for bereavement. Does somebody want to come up and read it for me? Come on, read it, Verona. Yay! I love your voice anyway.
Companioning is about honoring the spirit. It is not about focusing on the intellect. Companioning is about curiosity. It is not about expertise. Companioning is not about learning from others.
It is about learning from others.
It's about, wait a minute, did I miss something?
Yes.
Companioning is about learning from others. It is not about teaching them. Companioning is about walking alongside. It is not about leading or being led. Companioning is about being still. It is not about frantic movement forward. Companioning is about discovering the gifts of sacred silence. It is not about filling every painful moment with talk. Companioning is about listening with the heart. It is not about analyzing with the head. Companioning is about bearing witness to the struggles of others. It is not about judging or directing those struggles. Companioning is about being present to another person's pain. It is not about taking away or relieving the pain. Companioning is about respecting disorder and confusion. It is not about imposing order and logic. Companioning is about going to the wilderness of the soul with another human being. It is not about thinking you are responsible for finding the way out.
What do you think about that?
It speaks to me.
Does it? Does it? Which ones pop out at you, resonate for you?
The last one.
The last one?
And the one about being still. Yes.
Being still. The fourth or fifth one. Being still. It's not about frantic movement forward. Boy, isn't that the truth? Don't we rush through life? Where are we going? I don't know. What's so important that we need to rush? I love that piece, and I think there's a couple keys that probably came up in what you were talking about, all the things that you talked about. There's a couple keys to being a good companion to each other, to binding ourselves together and caring for each other. I think one of those is patience, that there is simply no rush. In fact, you can slow down the pace, and actually often in the same amount or less actual time used, you can accomplish more. Because when somebody is just frantically rushing, I mean, you've heard this old phrase, what is it? The faster I go, the behinder I get.
Further I go, the behinder.
Further I go, the behinder I get. Yeah. If you slow something down, I'll give you an example. Just from the other day, my little 2.5-year-old grandchild ended up in the hospital, and you know what that does to grandma. I mean, they're doing testing and they're admitting her, and I'm going, my vision just is tunneling. And I'm at my work over there, and I work with these lovely people who understand what happens when tunnel vision happens. And I'm in a meeting, and one of them stops the meeting, and she goes, Mary, yeah, you need to not be here. You need to be over at the hospital right now. I'm like, really? I know this, but she's like, yeah, you do. Tell me how you're feeling, because I know you got to be feeling something. And then I talk about, well, yeah, I guess I'm just scared because, and she goes, you're scared. What are you scared of? Well, I'm scared my poor little Bobkin's got a brain problem and she's not going to survive at worst or whatever. But I can't really even say it, and I'm tearing up. And they're like, okay, we love you. See you later. You can't come back. We're not allowing it. Can I leave? So it's just beautiful when somebody slows that down. I mean, I was going to sit there in that meeting and probably not be much of a help. Maybe even derail people because they're worried about me. But somebody just slowed it all down and said, wait a minute. And that's true in other kinds of times when we're with people. That if you just slow it down a little bit, somebody's racing, and you can tell they're racing, and if you slow your own voice down a little bit, say, how you doing? By the way, how are you doing right now? Off the subject, go where they are. It can just sort of, somebody can name something, and then you can go forward. It happens all the time if people are there who know how to slow down a situation. And you know how to slow down a situation. You just slow it down. It's okay. You can do that. You can do that for someone else. I think about, with slowness, I often think about our clients who are struggling with dementia. And I have this wonderful guy who I give little names to my volunteers that I love the most, that are the most dependable and all that. And I have this one guy that I call the patient man because he is. He's amazingly patient. And when it comes to dealing with a a client who has dementia. He's fabulous. He will go in, there was one woman that he saw for 3 years through increasing times of dementia. He would go every week, the same time, 2 hours, sit with this woman, and this gave the family of this woman comfort. He would write back and forth in a little notebook what went on while he was there, and he would also run across them occasionally, and they'd have little talks, the family would. It was beautiful, and what he did with her was he knew her a little bit more. I mean, she would discuss things with him a little bit in the beginning, and so he got to know her a little bit. He realized she had a sense of humor, too. And over time, the last year and a half that he saw her, she, according to everyone else, she was she would never respond to anything. This lovely patient man could get something out of her pretty much every time he went to visit with her. He would sit there for 2 hours, and maybe it's only one word, but hilariously, he would read her the newspaper because he knew she was interested in the newspaper, and she was kind of a little bit of a wild woman pioneer when she was younger. And so he read, and he said, "Oh my goodness," I'm going to use a fake name, "Mary, the bar downtown's closing. The one, I forget which one it was, but some famous bar in English is closing." And he's been sitting there reading the newspaper for an hour, and suddenly she pops with, "Oh, let's go." She's going to get there one last time. He came to a class that we had on different kinds of stimulation for older people and who have dementia. Well, not necessarily older. Lots of people have dementia. But people have dementia, and he realized that music could make a difference. So this was his thing now, was to go in and put in like a little CD of different kinds of music. He'd go out into the library or wherever and find CDs of different kinds of music. So he'd report in his little report forms, "Yeah, we did Lawrence Welk today. She responded a little bit to this song, but not to that. Oh man, she loves the Stones." She was humming along and doing something else. It was hilarious. Just he would always get something out of her and always give her a few touches and just be there for her. And that's what I call amazing patience and listening to her without her even telling him. Being able to listen to what it is she needed. And I heard you guys saying a lot about that patience with just in the piece where they were able to walk into your situation and say, "Okay, Jeanette, we can look around. We see you need to get packed." They were listening to you and what you didn't have the energy to do, and they have to do it. So it's fabulous. So there's that kind of thing. Not much response, and sometimes other folks who have dementia will they'll be able to talk more. Maybe they need to tell the same story over and over again. But you know what? I need to tell the same story over and over again sometimes. And just to have another person come in and just sit there and listen. The really hard thing about listening is not thinking about what you're going to say next. And a lot of us probably have those classes. Not focusing on the story that you want to tell, and not focusing on the advice you want to give. That's usually not helpful. It's really hard though. For myself, I like to think of my brain as kind of this, I don't know, it's kind of a grid, I guess, as I describe it. But I have a place, and I'll often say that, I'm going to set something aside. And when I do, I set it right there. That's where it goes. That's my grid. That's where I can put it. And when I'm sitting and listening with someone, I will consciously, I'll suddenly have a story come to mind or something else, and if I want to just be fully present for them, if that's what I'm doing right now, this isn't just normal conversation, but when I'm really trying to be fully present, I will actually imagine taking that story I have in my head and putting it right there. I know it's there. I can come back to it later on, and if they want to have a chat or somebody else wants to have a chat, I can tell it. But I didn't lose it, but I set it aside.
And then you don't get in this with it about, I don't want to forget this.
No, I don't, because honestly, I did set it aside. It's there, and I can go back and find it again.
That's a good strategy.
Yeah.